Interstate 81. Yeah. Alright, today we are talking about Interstate 81. It is oftentimes a very beautiful road. It basically is like an interior bypass of I-95 in the major East Coast cities. And it goes through some lovely scenery, as we shall see. It extends, we see here, from just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, all the way up to the Canadian border north of Watertown, New York. You're watching Control City Freak. This is the YouTube channel where we talk about interstate highways and the places that they are assigned to go to. If you're into this kind of content, why not give us a like? And if you really dig it, why not subscribe? Yeah. Alright, today we are specifically talking about northbound I-81. I-81 begins here at an intersection with I-40 in pretty far eastern Tennessee. So we are beyond Knoxville here, and 81 sign north for Bristol. Bristol is the primary control still as we go, and I've had a lot of chat about Bristol. I was kind of against Bristol before. I thought it would be better to go straight to Roanoke maybe, but having thought about it, Bristol kind of represents the Tri-Cities, and since it's the only Tri-City that 81 actually goes through, and because of the NASCAR Speedway, I think I'm alright with Bristol here. Here we meet West 26, bound for Kingsport, and we see our sign for 81, which is going to Bristol still. Here we are in Bristol, we get the 11W intersection. And at that intersection in Bristol, we are now signed for 81 Roanoke, so good choice in my opinion. And just like that, we are in Virginia, as we will be for quite some time. Virginia maintains the same thing as Tennessee, so we've got 81 North Roanoke. And on the mileage sign, Roanoke is on the bottom line. Here we meet 381. We'll talk about 381 in the southbound video, but it's a funny little road. Roanoke had been signed up until now, but now we get a Wytheville on the bottom line. I think this might just be a one-off sign though. And here we are in Wytheville, so we get 7781 for Charlotte and Roanoke, 77 for Bluefield, Charleston, West Virginia. I just get rid of the Bluefield there, just Charleston's fine. And here's another look at America's favorite wrong way concurrency, since we've got the double wrong way and the weird north-south even-numbered road. On our mileage signs here, we get Roanoke and Charlotte, so pretty well done. And now we split with 77, so we will be on North 81 Roanoke. Here we get Roanoke, and for some reason they decide the next control city after Roanoke is going to be Lexington. I definitely don't agree with that. And here we are meeting US 11 for Blacksburg, Virginia Tech University here. And here's our main Roanoke exit. We don't actually go into Roanoke. 81 pretty much avoids cities throughout its entire run. So 581 into Roanoke, and we are now on North 81 Lexington. You see Lexington is now the second signed place, and Winchester is on the bottom line. Personally, I would not go with either of those for the control cities on this point on I-81. I would actually go with Richmond, because 64 is going that way. I mean, Richmond's a much bigger place. So in the Lexington area, we meet 64 West Charleston, and now we're on 6481 Winchester. Again, I think that's a bad choice. I think it should be 6481 Richmond here, since Richmond is so much bigger than Winchester. And once again, we don't get any 64 cities on this sign, only 81 cities. Now we split 64 East Richmond and 81 North Winchester. From here, I would actually sign 81 North for Washington, D.C., because 81 is a huge driver of traffic to D.C. with I-66. And so we get Harrisonburg, Strasburg, Winchester. Right here we go right through the campus of James Madison University. Kind of weird that 81 is right on campus. My cousin went here though, so go Fighting Madisonians. I don't know what they are. Here we meet I-66. It is signed for Front Royal and Washington, and we are still on North 81 Winchester. At this point, I would switch to Harrisburg. I would assign it to DC up until this junction, and then Harrisburg from this point on. Because again, remember, 81, one of its main things is that it is a toll-free and interior, non-major city option to get between a lot of the major cities. Here in Winchester, we are assigned 81 North Martinsburg. And again, I'd skip ahead straight to Harrisburg. This sign is fantastic. Here we are in Virginia, and we have West Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania signed. So 3 different states in a 4th state, all on one sign, all at some point some kind of primary control city. Pretty sure there's no other sign in the country that quite does this. And here we are. Welcome to West Virginia. Sorry, I was very wrong in my I-77 video. don't know what I was thinking. I knew 81's into West Virginia. The only place of any circumstance in West Virginia, in the short West Virginia panhandle we're going through, is Martinsburg. So of course, West Virginia is going to sign Martinsburg, because West Virginia hates signing anything not West Virginia if they can avoid it. We do get Hagerstown on the bottom line, only 28 miles away. I really do think Harrisburg would be the way to go here. And here in Martinsburg, we are getting 81 North Hagerstown on the overhead sign at the interchange here. Once out of Martinsburg, we do finally get Harrisburg on the mileage sign at least. And welcome to Maryland. We're in Maryland, so we need some I-68 hype.
Hyped interstate ever.
Here's the main reason Hagerstown is signed, I would assume, is that we meet I-70. 70 signed horribly for Frederick and Hancock, and 81 signed north, Hagerstown, Harrisburg. So Maryland, including Hagerstown in there, even though this intersection's the reason for Hagerstown being signed, just because Maryland always has to sign Maryland when they can. And once we're outside of the Hagerstown area, we do get 81 north, Harrisburg. Welcome to Pennsylvania. Let's pursue happiness with Pennsylvania control cities. Said no one ever. Oh, PA. So, right from the jump at the first interchange in Pennsylvania, now we don't get Harrisburg anymore, we get Chambersburg. Because, you know, why would you want to sign your capital city where you have 3 interstate junctions or whatever? No, let's sign Chambersburg. And then after Chambersburg, we're getting Carlisle. Come on. Here's our basically one exit in Chambersburg, so we are gonna check out here what we get. Carlisle. Come on, a suburb of Harrisburg. That's worse than signing Joliet in I-80 in Chicago. Carlisle is next to Harrisburg. It's a suburb, and Harrisburg's not that big of a place, but it's the capital. Sign Harrisburg. We're getting Carlisle on the bottom line here. Here's our reason for signing Carlisle, because we meet the Pennsylvania Turnpike here, I-76, but there's no normal interchange to it. We have to do a weird indirect Breezewood thing. So here we come, South 11 to 76 and Penn Turnpike, Middlesex. And on the sign for the actual exit, we don't get 76 control cities. God forbid you sign Pittsburgh and Philadelphia here. Instead, we get the random town that US 11 goes through instead of 76s. What are you doing, PA? Why? At this US 11 interchange, we do get Harrisburg finally for US 81. Obviously, they don't care much about it because they built this stoplight right in front of here, so you can hardly see the sign. Here in Harrisburg, now we're just getting a through traffic sort of thing. And we meet I-83, signed for Hershey and York. Baltimore. And North 81, 278, Hazleton and Allentown. Right here, I believe from Harrisburg, it should be Allentown and New York, because so much 81 traffic is going to New York. One of the major routes from California, from Los Angeles to New York, is via I-81, Hazleton. And here at the 78 split, which should be Allentown, New York, we get 78 Allentown, and we get 81 Hazleton. At this point, it should be Wilkes-Barre. You have another city you can sign in state Pennsylvania. You don't have to sign Hazleton on the way. Hazleton, 53. So Hazleton on the bottom line, because we have the I-80 junction. That's the only reason we get Hazleton. All right, I'm going to show some nice scenery that we have, because I-81 is pretty beautiful, and the control cities are driving me crazy. So let's calm down with some nice views here. It is pretty nice. Very nice views on I-81 in Pennsylvania. All right, we meet I-80, which has its own terrible control cities, and 81 is signed north for Wilkes-Barre, which is perfectly fine. More nice views as we head on the way there. And this is kind of an interesting sign. No control city for I-81, but they're telling us we're going to have 2 exits at the same time and coming towards central Wilkes-Barre here. We never get a pull through on I-81 here, so we have to look at another road, and we see that it is signed 81 North Scranton at this point. We get another Breezewood-like interchange to meet 476. They really need to fix this stuff in PA. Look at this interchange. Super weird. So you have to get off to get onto 315 and then drive over a little bit to get onto 476. And of course, on the signage before, we didn't get 476 control cities, because why would we? This is an interesting part. For a while, we are driving parallel with 476, so we can actually see 476 traffic from where we are. We continue to be on North 81 Scranton, which is the right choice. And here's probably why you know the name of the city of Scranton. I've actually known it for a little longer. I knew it from Harry Chapin's song way back in the day.
It was just after dark when the truck started down the hill that leads into Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yep, that's how I'd heard of it. In Scranton, we're meeting I-84 and 380, and they have horrible control cities, not too surprisingly. 84 should probably be for New York or Boston or Hartford, something. I don't know. Not Mount Pocono. 81, Binghamton. I thought about that for a bit, and I'm okay with it. Here we have more or less a direct interchange with 476, meeting 476 again. This is a very weird interchange, too. And of course, we don't get any 476 control cities. We get Clark's Summit. But we are getting 81 North Binghamton here, so that's good to see. And Binghamton is on the bottom line of the sign. And welcome to New York. This is our first time entering New York that isn't New York City. This is the first time we've been anywhere but the city itself. And we see Binghamton and Syracuse coming up here. Binghamton 6 at interchanges, so that's good to see. And we're meeting I-86 for New York City. Wow, that's quite a control city for a stub route there. That's pretty awesome. And North 81 still Binghamton because we haven't quite entered the center of town yet. So I'm okay with Binghamton because we meet 2 other interstates and because usually I'd be pro something like Syracuse, but specifically Syracuse, I'm okay with them not signing for longer, and we'll get to that. All right, now we are meeting 86 west for Corning, and we are going north 81 to I-88 for Syracuse and Albany. So smart to have that 88 signage there, and also 88's control city. Well done. And here is our split where we go 88 East Albany and 81 North Syracuse. On the mileage sign, Syracuse 63, so that works well. Here we meet 481, which is right now signed north for DeWitt, but eventually this is going to be I-81. They're doing some major work here. The current 81 is going to become a boulevard and business route, be somewhat torn down, and through traffic will be taking 481. We're taking 81 today. The Carrier Dome. It's given us such great things as corporate named stadiums and the matchup zone, the most boring basketball you could ever watch. Ugh, Syracuse. So we don't see this really anywhere else on I-81, an actual urban freeway, although this is actually a freeway so through the core of town that they are going to be getting rid of it soon. It's going to be torn down. Meet 690, we are going to be signed north 81 for Watertown. And here's another look at downtown Syracuse, since we will be taking 481, the future 81 route on the southbound episode. Normally, I'm actually okay with tearing down these sorts of freeways that go right through the heart of a downtown. I feel like those probably aren't the best things to begin with. But in the case of 81 in Syracuse, well, it's helping Syracuse University. Apparently, Syracuse University really wants it done, and anything Syracuse University wants, I don't want. Yes, I'm still salty about 2003. All right, we've got 81 North Watertown, and we are meeting I-90, the New York State Thruway, for Albany and Buffalo. So well done all here. Watertown's not the biggest place, obviously, but there's really nothing else on North 81, so it works. Here we pass the shores of Lake Oneida. Pretty nice. And at exit ramps, we get North 81 Watertown, so no surprise there at all. Here we meet I-781 going to Fort Drum, kind of specifically only going there. It's going right to Fort Drum. Alright, and from 781 we now get 81 North Canada. And a whole control country, just Canada 25. Originally I said Ottawa would probably be the way to go here. I understand just signing Canada because getting to Ottawa is still kind of a convoluted route. And we see not a whole lot of traffic up on this part of I-81, way up north here. And we are going to be meeting the Thousand Islands Bridge coming up here. Pay toll. We made it through I-81 for free for so long. Wow, you don't get too many northeast interstates with this long of a free section, but not quite all the way through. Here we pay the toll. Looks like it's only a couple or $3, so no big deal. And this bridge is obviously not interstate standard. Pretty cool old looking bridge here. 2 lanes. And now we are getting to Canada coming up soon. Export Control 2000 and our last US exit right here. So here's what I could see from street view for the border area here. And this would be actually entering Canada through this one, I believe. All right, and we run out of roads. So let's talk about Todd's the way it should be for I-81. For northbound I-81, like I said, I've come around. I'm fine with Bristol now. As they do it is the right next choice. From Roanoke, I would say Richmond, because it is the main way from Roanoke to Richmond through I-64. And then from I-64's leaving, I would go with Washington. There's tons of Washington traffic on I-81. I-81 is almost a Washington interstate because of 66. Then Harrisburg from the point where 66 splits. And then I would go Allentown and New York, sign north from Harrisburg until the I-78 split. And then I'd go Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Binghamton, then Syracuse, Watertown, and Canada as they do. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Control City Freak. I really appreciate it. There is a video up on your screen right now that algorithmically you have probably not seen yet, so check that out. Give us a like, subscribe. Really appreciate it, guys. We'll be back with more I-81 next week, but until then, keep on trucking.